chess course creators. We're thrilled to have everybody here today. We've got an excellent panel joining us from all across the globe, lots of chess involved there. We've also got some great audience members who we will hopefully engage because they have great chess businesses in person and online. So today we're here to talk about a few things. I'm going to read them off. How to convince parents of the value of online chess learning, how to leverage online teaching for development and fun, how to onboard and manage a very large group of chess teachers, because we've got some big companies here, and how to differentiate yourself. So we can't wait to see how the programs grow of our panelists. And we're here as a community. So we hope that the programs will grow for the audience members who are also part of the chess community and specifically the online chess community. Speaking of community, we are here because of our leader at Click2, Dotan Tamir, and Dotan will welcome everybody and take it away.
Thank you, Josh. Welcome, everybody. Very excited for this webinar. So hi all, I'm Dotan. I'm from Click2. Just to give you the context, we are a technology solution for the enrichment providers who are looking to thrive in the online space. But Click2 isn't only an end-to-end software platform. We actually understand that what turns an online course into an amazing experience and journey for kids. I got some stuff to show you at the end. And so you'll have to stick with us to the end for a glimpse of all that good, but it's not gonna be hard because this discussion today is very relevant to where the industry is right now. Online is here to stay. So we all have to excel at it. And there's a lot to do. We got some challenging questions for our wonderful panelists. So Josh, ready? Let's start.
Yeah, let's rock and roll. So before we do, I'll set some ground rules here, just some ideas. Remember, we have a very serious audience. We have CEOs of big companies. We have founders of big companies, all in the chess space. So while we're enamored with our panelists, we also really do want to hear from our audience. So please participate. The chat is also a perfect place to network. So please feel free to chat with everybody. It's a great spot. Make sure that you also hang out. As Dotan said, there will be a special offer for a strategy call. That strategy call will be mentioned by Dotan and Joyce, who's helping us in the chat as well. So we are going to get started. We're going to start with Evan Rabin. Evan is a U.S. chess national master. He's the founder of Premier Chess. We met him literally walking around New York City, and so that was pretty cool. He currently is in 80 programs and companies, including Google. So Evan, here's your question. You've got 3 minutes, but you're good at being on the clock. How do you convince parents of the value of online chess learning?
Yeah, thank you, Josh, for having me. So I think really the biggest thing is just letting them know that it's as good, if not better, actually, than in-person learning. We do obviously a lot of in-person learning, a lot of school programs, lots of different things in person, which is great. But the virtual community is great. Just that we're coming together, during this time. Actually in like the last few months, for instance, I met Tim, in the virtual world, here, comes to mind. We also have had, exposure to students, literally around the globe. Look, it's something that is actually, I would say, relatively easy to do. In the beginning of COVID, we obviously, big time built, our platform, with lead chess tournaments. For instance, it's actually a lot easier as things are paired, almost immediately. When you're live, for instance, in a school program, it could take 10, 15 minutes just to figure out like who all the kids are playing, against each other, for instance. So it's a lot of time right there. We've also made it generally a little bit more affordable, since things are, online. We don't have, instructors, traveling, as much, things like that. We could also generally fit, more people, into some of our classes, at the same time higher to keep, ratios. We also are able to get, more like guest instructors. I've actually collaborated with a lot of other chess companies around the country, Chess for Life, for instance. Really, it's just been a, great, different type of environment. And yes, things are, obviously going, back in person a little bit, but I don't see like the virtual environment stopping at all, and it's only continuing. Elliott said, it's expanded opportunities globally, and it's true. We actually had in the last couple months, several students from Israel, one actually from Sydney, Australia. So just people all over. I've had coaches coming in from Israel, for instance. So it's just a great community, and I look forward to seeing it grow.
Yeah. So Evan, that's one of the strongest points. I think it's the opportunity to meet kids and others from everywhere, which is an amazing added value of any online enrichment program or any online course. By the way, anybody on the panel has an interesting story about somebody who joined that would have never joined if it wasn't online? Elliott, I see.
Elliott shaking his head.
You're on mute. All right.
Yes, absolutely. It's I can just say that when we went online, instead of serving students, live in one location primarily and licensing elsewhere, we now have live students in 37 states. And I'm sure the same is true with Evan and with many others. And that's where I say the opportunity has really expanded. A really fun story is a homeschool kid in the United Kingdom joined our classes. She's homeschooled because she performs in this program for drama, and she's on stage, and so she's homeschooled because of her schedule, and she was able to join some of our virtual classes. So some really fun stories have come out of this.
All right, we're going to keep the spotlight right on Elliott. You threw it on yourself, so we'll keep it on you. Elliott, National Master in Chess, the author of A Pawn's Journey and the founder and CEO of Chess for Life. Chess for Life exists to help kids develop life skills through the game of chess. And, this should not be hard then for you to elaborate on. How do you leverage online teaching for developing character and life skills while keeping it fun?
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Dotan, for putting this together. And also, kudos to Evan and the many others who are serving kids globally and expanding through the scenario of online. At Chess for Life, our mission is, just like you stated, to teach life lessons through the game of chess. And I was personally quitting chess originally when the light bulb went on that this was such a great vehicle to accomplish this mission. Today, our mission is to impact 1 million youth per week with life skills through the game, whether directly or through licensing and empowering others. And we're very happy to have our tools in front of a couple 100,000 students who have access, even though we work with a smaller group, one-on-one in small groups. So how did this affect? The reality was, when we went online, we went, what are we going to do to ensure that the mentorship and what we teach is not lost in an online space? We have never wanted to be the best chess teaching company, and chess is a basic skill, but we have certainly striven to help kids succeed in life. And so when we went online, we saw multiple ways that we could do that. Yes, it's more difficult to mentor in a virtual space, but it's not impossible. So how do you do that? Chess, as we know, teaches complex problem-solving skills, right? There's many of these spatial awareness and many, many basic skills that come through chess, independent of how you teach it in many cases. To us, it's the mindset that brings that added layer of life skills and character development. So for example, the first life lesson that we consider a cornerstone that can be taught virtually as well as in person anytime is in chess and in life. You can win, you can draw, right? Nobody wins, or what else could happen?
No.
You can
I see where you're
learn.
going with this.
There is no losing.
Curveball.
If your mindset is one of learning. How many of you, and I would imagine everyone in the audience and all of us, have gone through painful experiences that in the moment felt like a total loss? Yet if you look back at what you learned through that experience, isn't that the very thing that helped you achieve who you are today? So our mindset is critical, and you can do that online or in person. Do you embrace a checkmate against you to say, how did that happen? What did I learn from it? And how do I get better? That's why I became a master. Embracing the learning. And so imagine what that does for students if they are not afraid to fail. If you change FAIL to stand for first attempt in learning. So this is a cornerstone mindset that I believe is critical for students to be willing to fail forward. Secondly, we teach sportsmanship, fair play. And how do you do that? Again, you have a choice. Is it win at all cost, or is it considerate of others and working better together? We must be collaborators to achieve solving the big complex problems we face in this world. You don't do it alone. You don't do it by being selfish. You do it by working together. So fair play is essential. When we have students fall into the trap of winning by cheating, it is really losing. That is the way to lose. But we use it again as a mentoring opportunity to work with the student and the parents to go, look, you made a choice. Understand the consequences of that choice. It's going to be found out, and it's going to hinder your growth, and others will not trust you. And trust is foundational for achievement in many areas. And then on top of that, we have this principle of that another life lesson that we teach called the can-do attitude. Again, essential for success. Among chess players, if you play somebody who's far ahead of you, what is your mindset? Do you go in going, uh-oh, I don't have a chance? Or do you go in with a mindset of, hey, I'm gonna give it my all, and the worst case is I'm gonna learn. So your mindset is can-do attitude. If you think you can, you probably can in many cases. But if you think you can't, you're always right. You will not achieve if your mind says you cannot achieve. And so those are just two of the many life principles that I believe can totally be done online. I love to see it in person. I look forward to more of that happening, but that's just a snapshot of how I believe you can achieve bringing life lessons and skills to your kids. Focus upon what your goal is, then figure out how to do it virtually. There's always a way.
So many good lessons, and one phrase that I will never forget. But really about what I really learned from you now, Elliott, is that online is still offering all of that, right? It's not something that you can do online. And now when I'm thinking about the future of not just education is online, the future of work is online, the future, a lot of things are going to change, and people are going to need those online skills. So learning online is also leading to being a better, a more successful online player overall in the future. All right. Wow.
So there was a lot learned there. I'm still digesting that. I wrote down Elliott's line. I'm sure we'll use that on our call tomorrow for our team. It was a good one, Elliott. So we're going to talk to Alec Fishman. Alec is a U.S. national chess master. I see a theme developing here with our panel. Is the co-founder and executive director of iChessU.com, one of the eldest and most popular online chess schools across the globe. So that means, for our next question, Alec has to keep his standards up across the globe. So here's your question, Alec. How can you onboard and manage a large group of teachers, again, while keeping high standards?
Yeah, thanks for this very impressive introduction. I think that the key is establishing an effective framework of coaches with the right personality and skills, as well as providing them with content that they're rich enough and flexible to adjust to very different types and profiles of students. So on the coach side, being a strong chess player doesn't necessarily make one as a good coach, right? A good coach is far beyond just knowing the game well. Good coaches, they should possess skills and communication, listen to their students, and being able to collaborate and keep them engaged. In addition to just being just a good chess coaches and knowing the game, right? And also the chess program is another very important aspect to keep the community engaged and provide the value. So us as iChessU, we have years proven content of best practices and the chess materials that we give to our coaching staff. And they teach based on this curriculum. And we also make this curriculum adaptive enough to students' chess level, interest, and the pace of their progress. So I think the combination of these two, having the right content and identifying coaches with the right personality, this is what really makes us great and and enables us to provide value to our community.
So, Alec, just to get a clue, right? Your average coach, they work with you, what, a few times a week for a few hours? Is it usually, have you noticed any difference when hiring for the in-person, or actually you didn't do a lot of in-person in your case, right? So it's mostly online, but so you have the most experience here probably on the online space. So give us one magic tip on how to hire an amazing coach when doing it all online. Like how do you make sure they really keep the high standards throughout the whole course and throughout all those years?
Yeah, so I think that again, it comes down to their personality, and looking at our audience, it's all over the world, and all Asia, Europe, United States, everywhere. And you can see there are the cultural differences in different places. And also we have students that have, different ages and different backgrounds and different goals in chess, right? So we have also a variety of coaches that each possess or better fit to specific geographies or specific levels of play, or even, some coaches that work better with kids. And we try to correlate and attach the right coach to right students. But again, at the end of the day, I think it comes down to a right personality, and having coaches that not just they want to stay there for 45 minutes and just deliver the content and leave, but someone that really interested in seeing and really happy with seeing his students progressing and achieving their own goals. And it's just personal skills in front of anything else.
So it's interesting, that you mentioned that, Alec, because when I look at the whole panel, and we'll introduce Lior Lapid, he's a national chess master. You guys all are, okay? So you have to differentiate yourself. So Lior, your question, before I give you the question, a former U.S. national champion in the K through 9 and K through 12 division, a 5-time reigning Colorado State champion. Dotan, did you get everybody in the chess world to show up? Because this is pretty amazing. But you guys have to differentiate yourselves. So Lior, how do you differentiate yourself in the online chess space? Not as an owner, you probably have to do that anyway, but how does your company differentiate yourself?
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Dotan, as well, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be joining all of you today. And I think that, it's a very kind introduction, but I like to tell my students that we're all potzers when it comes to chess, meaning we're all weak players. It's just that there are different degrees of potzers. And so, for example, if you put me up against an international master, I will probably lose badly. International master would lose to a grandmaster. A grandmaster would lose to Magnus Carlsen, let's say, and Magnus Carlsen would get crushed by a chess program on my cell phone. And so, in a sense, chess is by its very nature, a very humbling experience, or I think it should be. I think that to become a strong chess player, one has to be brutally honest with himself or herself about where we're going wrong. And as Elliott eloquently put it earlier, to be winning or learning, and taking every loss as an opportunity to learn, every mistake as a chance to grow and improve. And it's those kids who do that, and adults as well, who are willing to swallow their pride and not stubbornly make the same mistakes over and over again, who really bring their game to the next level. So I strongly agree with Elliott and the philosophy of his wonderful program, Chess for Life, that we should be, of course, to differentiate yourself, the possibilities are endless. And there are some programs that will focus primarily on the chess itself and on helping to turn out masters and future grandmasters. But I do believe that chess is an underutilized educational tool. It's something that can help people of all ages, all backgrounds, to learn very valuable life lessons. And I think that one of the best ways that the online format in particular can help to differentiate a program is that the online world has changed everything in that it's made the world much smaller. It's connected all of us in a way that chess has been doing for thousands of years, or probably around 1700 years. But chess is a game that I like to call the great equalizer. It brings people together regardless of their religion, their political beliefs, their gender or sexual identity. Rich and poor come together, young and old. We run chess matches between senior citizens and kindergartners. So it's a game that's accessible to everyone, transcends borders and barriers. And I think that the online format is really the perfect format to do that, because you can connect with people living on the opposite side of the globe and still make friends with them and have a personal connection with them, as I have with several people who I've made friends with who don't speak English or Hebrew or Spanish, my languages, and I don't speak their languages, but we have one in common, and it's the language of chess. And that's really a beautiful thing, because you learn so much, not only over the board, but also about their culture and their background and their music and literature. And I remember as a kid falling in love with Russian culture and trying to adopt a fake Russian accent to intimidate my opponents, because I thought it would make me a better chess player. But no, I do think that chess, being such a universal game, universal language, it's important to bring that element into our programs as much as possible. And the online format allows that even better than in person. And I don't want to overstep my time limit. I probably already have.
You're only 11 seconds over. You're good.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's okay.
I
I bought us some time earlier. Go for it.
Thank you. No, I'll just close then by saying that I think that to differentiate and to really stand out in the online sphere or in person, it's important to know the audience. And when you're working with children, as many of us do here, I think that humor and storytelling really goes a long way, because you want to meet the learners where they're at. And if all of us were children once, it's hard to remember now, but when you have humor, when you have a personal connection to your pieces, when you genuinely care about those pieces, maybe because they become characters in a story, and those stories have chapters each week with a new chapter to these progressive lesson plans. Those are things that we do, including themes for Halloween lessons and things like that, just to get the kids more engaged and to make the program a little more unique by combining chess with other passions or other interests or other walks of life. And I'll just end by saying that it sometimes goes a little too far in the sense of getting kids to care about their pieces too much, because we give names to all the pieces. Sometimes they have animal names, and the kids start to really care about them, which is what you love to see. You want them to treat their pieces like friends or family. But then, of course, if those pieces get captured, it becomes a problem. And I thought I would share a funny story that happened recently in one of my own classes, that a student who rarely loses and does not take well to losing lost a game, but fought to the bitter end until every single last pawn was captured. And then he was inconsolable, crying. I tried to tell him, hey, it's okay. You win or you learn, and it's only a game, and you're going to learn from this. You come back stronger. And then he looked at me and he said, I know it's only a game, Coach Lior. But then in between sobs, he pointed to all of his captured pieces and he said, but it was a matter of life and death for them. So I really love that, because I thought, okay, I did my job. If he cares so much about those pieces, then that's a sign that he loves chess as much as I do.
Leo, that's an amazing story. And I think, I see how so many other verticals in the enrichment space can implement that, or are actually already implementing the fact that this is not just a learning experience. This is an experience, and kids come to learn enrichment and do enrichment after school hours. Usually it's something that they choose or they are involved in choosing to do. And they want it to be fun. They want to meet new people. They want to make friends. And that's probably the biggest skill that they get through that, in addition to, of course, the actual hard skills of playing or coding or whatever enrichment they are at. Let's, before we go, Josh, to the next, to the last panelist on here, which is Tim. Let's remind the audience on the chat that we are going to have some time for your questions. So now it's the time to use the Q&A or the chat, and we're waiting to see your questions.
Yeah. And so Dotan, last but not least, is actually an old friend of mine, Tim Dobbs. I know him for many years from Chess Wizards, working for one of my previous companies that I started. And Tim knows this about me. Safety is very important. Safety was very important in the enrichment space when I ran it in person. It's equally important online. So Tim is an avid traveler. He's a chess player, and he's the national program director of Chess Wizards. He supervises 500 schools, and he does it with a smile on his face all the time. Tim, wipe the smile off your face. Let's talk about safety in the online space for kids.
Well, thanks for having me. And honestly, I just feel, after hearing all you guys talk today, I know I'm jealous just of wanting to like join any of your classes. You all seem like you're fantastic teachers, and just hearing you today has really been worth me coming. So I did want to talk about safety and what I did when we first really moved to the online space. We were lucky to jump in right at March. We had already had partnerships. We were ready to go. It was kind of a back burner project for us, and we were able to march quickly in and really transfer our in-person kids right to online. But we needed that to be safe, and we needed to make sure we were making the right decisions. And I'm from a small town in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and right during the beginning of the pandemic, I watched my town get Zoom bombed, and at a public meeting for our council city, and it made national news. It was very, very embarrassing for our small town, and I definitely did not want that to happen to our company. So while we used all the passwords, while we had everything extra encrypted, and I might add, many parents complained about how hard it was to log into our classes. Why isn't it easy? It's easy to get into the other classes. We just said, I'm sorry, we understand that it is more difficult, but we need safety first, and we're just not willing to be flexible on that. And I do apologize, it takes that extra step. But even after all that and that complaint, what we did, I think, was the be all and end all. Our rule for all of our teachers, and we were running, sometimes 100 classes a day with 35, 40 different teachers. We made sure our teachers were a bouncer, and they did not let anybody into the class until they physically saw the child, not just the dad. If it's just dad saying, "Hey, I'm ready for the class," sir, I need to see your child, and I need to ask the child's name and make sure it's that child specific. And we would do that every time, and it eats up about 7 minutes of your class. Again, we as a national brand, as somebody that did not want to be on the front page of a news story, wanted to make sure that everything was to the T's. If, let's give you another example, internet goes out and a kid tries to join late, I would then bounce all of those kids back into the waiting room, check on that one kid to make sure it's still the same kid and not an older brother playing a funny prank who he thinks it's hilarious, and now it's not hilarious at all. And just to make sure that safety was always set, we never let kids in that we didn't physically see. And because of that, we've not had one issue, one problem, and we've ran, I mean, it's well over the thousands, into the tens of thousands of classes at this point. We retained quite a few students from our in-person learning. We were very lucky to do so. So that was our tips and tricks, and definitely something I'm glad we put in place.
Yeah, and Tim, first of all, Josh, you said he's a world traveler. Can I share that you were at 71 different countries?
I have now been to 71 countries. I've
71
hitchhiked 19 of them, and I've
Wow.
worked in about 20 of them. I've had a lot of different jobs to get me into the chess realm. I was a professional tour guide for many, many years, taking people adventure backpacking in multiple countries.
Well, so we have a lot to talk about. But Tim and Oleg, the owner of Chess Wizard, came to us at Click2 some time ago, and with that challenge of safety, right? And there are so many challenges when trying to imitate the in-person into the online space, but also new challenges that come up with the online offering. So, and this is great because we love challenges. We love understanding what's really needed for the space, what enrichment providers really need, and what are the biggest problems. And we are here to actually create solutions. So, and this is, regardless of what software or what platform everybody here today is using, this is how we can move this industry forward. At the end of the day, we're still kind of in the dinosaurs age of online enrichment. If we think how it's going to look like in 5 years, it's probably going to look very, very different. I don't know if it's going to look like what Mark Zuckerberg just shared 2 weeks ago. I don't know what I think about that, but it's going to look different than what it is today. And there is going to be so many new students coming in to this space. Questions. Okay, so Sydney here has a question. How are you keeping engagement with younger students, ages 6 and under, in online classes? Anybody has experience with this age?
Okay, probably I can take this question. So actually we have lots of students in this younger ages, and definitely teaching someone that is 6, 7, 8 years old is very different from teaching an adult. So there are a couple of things that we are doing. First of all, we have shorter sessions with them. It's not full 45 minutes lessons, but we have shorter lessons. We also try to keep it more interactive and more engaged, because a younger kid can sit that long without taking an action, right? So it's a more interactive, more asking questions, more maybe stuff like puzzles or questions like that. We also try to keep a conversation with the person. And actually, if I think that if that particular kid, he feels comfortable, you would be surprised for how long they can stay and how much they can engage. So just lots of interactions and shorter sessions.
All right.
Well, let me ask one question that was sent ahead of time, Dotan, I think kind of dovetails well. How do you keep the instructors engaged in the online space? I mean, we're all now at this point used to spending many hours in front of a computer on Zoom and staying focused, but could somebody talk about how you keep your instructors engaged and motivated?
So I think it's the same thing that we spoke previously about personality. A coach needs to do it not only for earning money, but he needs to like what he's doing, right? He needs to enjoy by seeing his student making a progress or enjoying chess. And many cases, there's also personal relations that involve between the coaches and the students. So again, everything comes down to personality more than chess, than the strengths in chess.
That makes sense. So passion. So your instructors have to have passion. We here
they see it as a mission, teaching people chess and just becoming smarter.
I like it.
There's a bit more of a performance aspect to online, because you have less time of the kids playing each other board to board. You have to be that stand-up comic, that kid that they want to come and see you, as opposed to the other online classes that they may be doing. So there's definitely more, you got to be a little more animated and make sure that you don't become stale behind the screen. And we dress like wizards. That makes it a little easy for us, I guess. So we have that going for us. But
you've always done that, right?
We've always done that. We were wizards before, but I think the kids loved seeing it, especially in the height of the pandemic, when you pop up and there's a wizard in front of you. It brought that what they were used to back to their home, and I think that really helped as well.
I think that another advantage of the online space is that you can cater specifically to the needs of your students and to the strengths of specific coaches more easily that way. You know, running a school-based chess program, like many of us here, you know, one of the challenges that we have is when you have a wide age range, or sometimes it's not only about the ages, but about the levels of the students. And so, you know, you want to make sure that the level is not too easy for the more advanced students, but also not too challenging for others. And, you know, you can maybe separate into 2 classrooms, and that can help, but it also depends on the availability of, you know, the space that's available at the school. With online, you can have multiple classes on specific themes, on, you know, depending on what the students are looking for. So maybe they're focused on end games or on learning an opening gambit, or they want their own games to be analyzed. And you may also work with coaches who are very strong in one area, not as strong in the other. And so it makes it easier to then pair the right coaches with the right students.
Elliott, you got the last word on this.
Hey, thank you. So on this topic of young students as well as engagement for students and team, it's something that I care deeply about, because if you're gonna achieve a goal of life skills through the game of chess, as opposed to, let's say, a goal of how many masters you develop, then students will not achieve life skills if they don't have fun and drop out of your programs. For them to achieve the goals, they've got to stick with it long enough to get the benefits. It's not an overnight piece. So fun and engagement is essential from day one for engaging the young students. And by young, I would define them as 5 or younger. We've served 5 and older in in-person classes and online. It's much more challenging online with those younger students, for sure. Like Lior was saying, I would differentiate into a couple of categories. One is the precocious young students who are advanced in their chess and they're into it, and they can go along with some older students. They're into the chess. The other side is the young kids, the parents want them involved to get the benefits, but how do you keep them engaged? And so the challenge there is much harder online versus in person. However, what I've experienced and what we see with our team is, again, similar to offline. The attention span of that student, right, is directly related, you could say, to their age, right? A lesson, you can almost go, how old are they? And that's the minutes of lesson max. Your 4-year-old, 4 minutes lesson time. Interactive is the max. You know, 4 seconds attention or 4 minutes interactive lesson. So the key we find is making mini fun games all the time. You've got to have them involved. If you're learning about a chessboard or things, it's like, who can click on this square? Who can find this square and click on it on your screen, or touch it if you got a touchpad or different things. And we find we need to lower the technology requirement for that young age. So you may do less of things that require more, you know, copy, paste, or chat, or these elements. You have to figure out how to pull them in this way, you know, being aware of them. And then just general good classroom management, even on your Zoom or whatever you're using, seeing the students, who's engaged or not. Are you calling and pulling them into your lesson? Hey, Ted, did you see this one? Hey, Ruth, I see that you're focusing here on this. Do you see the answer to this one? How many, you know, pull them all into it, engage the whole classroom just as you would in person. For the instructor side, we have had a dual goal at Chess for Life for the last 7 years and figuring out how to achieve it. 1 million kids a week with life skills through the game, and the best place to work for our team. So as we do that, we really do focus upon input from our team, even during this online space. It's like, hey, what's working for you? What are the challenges for you? What would make this better? We've got a good benefits package for our team. You know, we do PTO and all kinds of stuff. I've listened to different team members share how they've built healthy habits, another life lesson we focus on, into their personal routines to make it fun and engaging. We listen to our team and go, hey, what are you most energized by coaching? Advanced, beginner, this level, that level. We try to give them what is most energizing for them to lead. Doesn't always work, right? There's always something that you have to learn from and grow, but those are the types.
Elliott, I think we lost you at the end, but that's okay. What we could tell is that everybody was very, very passionate here in the chess space. I got to be honest, the closest thing I have come to with chess is the Queen's Gambit, and no, I'm not going down that rabbit hole with any of you guys because I know how important the Queen's Gambit has been to chess. Anybody out there can read about it. What we're passionate about, and I'm a member of Click2, cohort-based courses and the Click2 platform. So we've got 5 minutes left. I'd like to yield the floor here a little bit to Dotan to talk about A, Click2, and B, potentially this amazing, offer that he's going to make for the audience members out there.
Great. This was an amazing chat with you guys. You're so humble, and I think I met a group of educators that I want to keep in touch with. And we're building a community, so we're inviting everybody from the panelists, but also the attendees, the guests, everybody to a group on Facebook where we keep the community going. And if you didn't get the link yet, you'll get it. Then a little bit about Click2, because I think this will be very relevant for everybody here. Think about it: when you're starting an online store, you'll use something like Shopify. When you're marketing through emails, you'll probably build them on something like MailChimp. But what if you're building an online enrichment business? You need to take enrollments, manage teachers, schedules, get kids on video conferencing, collect feedback, measure engagement. Where do you go? That's exactly the problem that we solved with Click2. We built Click2, we designed it to really support online enrichment providers. We are ourselves experts of online classes, and we work with organizations in multiple verticals. We love helping them identify simple ways to improve the workflow, and by that grow their business. So here's what's in it for you right now. If you joined us live today and you'd like to have a consultation session to help you upgrade your efficiency and become a stronger online class provider, I'm happy to offer a super valuable consultation call for you at no cost at all. This offer is only available during this webinar. So Joyce from our production team, she has shared the link to book the time on the chat with you, and feel free to do that. I want to show you a quick video of to just give you a teaser of what Click2 is, and of course wrap it up at the end with some very interesting offer about something that's happening tomorrow. So let's take a look at this. And
when I build an online live learning program, I use a calendar to schedule the video meetings and then assign them to our teaching staff. For processing new student accounts, I use a registration system and a payment processing software. Then I go to my email to send video conferencing links and to communicate with the cohort groups. To record attendance and track student progress, I also use different spreadsheets and lists. Or I can manage my online education business all in one place with Click2. Now I can open a single course or scale up by providing multiple programs with various cohort options. In just a few clicks, I can publish each cohort option on our course catalog for easy registration and payment. Then, everything comes together on the agenda screen, where the teaching staff can easily access their assigned classes. Our teaching staff takes advantage of a multitude of tools that are designed to deliver an immersive live learning experience. Each student uses their secure personal access link to join class, eliminating the use of multiple links and a password. Click2 automatically tracks attendance, student engagement metrics, and post-session feedback, which help me make data-driven decisions. Join the cohort-based learning revolution and scale up your education business. Get started now at click2.live.
So really, we heard today about some of the amazing opportunities and challenges. I know that all the experts here who participated today in this panel are planning to grow their online chess education operation. And I'm sure that it's right for many of our attendees as well. And we hope that with Click2, that should be an easy task, easy as one click, as we say at Click2. And really, the more successful this category of online learning is, the more successful we all are going to be. Thanks again. Josh, back to you for a final interesting word.
Okay, so I'll reiterate what Dotan said. Rising tide is good for all ships. So, Click2 wins when everybody else wins, when Elliott wins, when Lior wins, and when the audience members win. So we want to hear from everybody. Hopefully we could do this again. But tomorrow, we have a very important guest, Nosire Yassin of Nas Academy. Nosire is one of the top course creators in the world. We met him, actually had burgers with him in San Diego. He's a good dude to have burgers with, and we're lucky enough to have him on the Lifelong Educators Show tomorrow, 10 a.m. East. So we hope people join in. We're going to end this now, this particular webinar. However, let's keep the conversation going, and hopefully Dotan will green light another one of these and we can get back together again. That's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that's fun.
So see you guys soon.
Elliott, do you live in Canada? Do you like actually
do
live
not.
there? Because it's fun. You've taken on a bit of a Canadian like accent.
That's probably thanks to growing up right at the Canadian border on the US side near Vancouver.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I lost my Michigan accent, but I used to sound much more Michigan-y before I became an English teacher. Which we say "hey" at the end of our sentences,
Totally.
and I could easily pass for Canadian before.
Same thing here. My mother actually grew up in Vancouver, BC.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, wow, it sounds like he's here.
Yeah. Very good. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, nice
Appreciate
meeting
it.
everybody. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye bye, everybody. I'm gonna end it now and be in touch very soon. Bye.